Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. We'll call the meeting to order. And we will start off with our invocation, followed by our pledge. You may or may not know that today is the National Day of Prayer. So we're going to do something a little bit different. There is actually a national prayer for the National Day of Prayer. So I'm going to read that prayer tonight. Almighty God, King of glory, we confess our sins and repent of our pride that sought our own glory and comfort, allowing evil to take root instead of your fruit in our hearts, homes, culture, and country. Please forgive us. Now, with this declaration of rededication, we humble ourselves, pray, and seek your face, turning from our wicked ways, that you would heal our lives and our land. Please purify and renew our hearts with holy attributes, affections, attitudes, and actions, to love you with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. We give you glory as we repent and rededicate our lives and our nation to you. For 250 years, you have guarded and guided America in wisdom, grace, mercy, and love. We praise and thank you for our founding fathers, for all who sought you in fervent prayer throughout history and answered your call to defend justice and freedom, to protect and serve, preach and teach, innovate, communicate, learn, work, worship, and establish our laws. May your kingdom come and your will be done in our lives, our families, the church, education, business, military, government, arts, entertainment, and media, as it is in heaven. We prayerfully commit to glorify God among the nations, seeking him in all generations. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our public comment period. For those of you who are new to this, we give you 3 minutes to speak about whatever you want to speak. And we ask that you state your name and address. This is not a question and answer time. We turn the floor over to you and allow you to speak. If you do have questions and you want those answered, we are more than willing to stay after the meeting and answer those questions. If you have a form that you filled out and you give it to our clerk, and we'll give you those 3 minutes. The first one I received, and I'll go through as I've received them, is Kathy Vaughn.
Good evening, Mayor and Town Council. My name is Kathy Vaught, and I live at 105 Meeting Place Drive in Fayetteville. But I heard about the consideration to approve the night market event sponsored by the Downtown Development Authority, and to include the off-premises sales of alcohol at Shamrock Park on Friday, June 19th of this year. And if there is a vote being taken on this consideration, I would ask that anyone that planned to vote yes on that would instead change their vote to no. I've been to Shamrock Park for some events, and it's a beautiful place, and it's very family-oriented. And I just think that by offering alcohol, that it just opens up further problems. And I just think that it invites crimes fueled by alcohol, and it will accomplish nothing except increasing the crime statistics in an otherwise quiet and peaceful town. So, again, if you plan on a yes vote, I hope you will reconsider and change your yes to no. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next, I have Matt Griffin.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matt Griffin. I live at 150 Berry Hill Lane in Tyrone. I think I've met most of you. My wife and I own Action Wrestling, which has been here for 8 years. We've been putting on live professional wrestling events and creating fundraising opportunities for nonprofits here in Fayette and surrounding counties in 2018. In recognition of our 8th anniversary, my wife, Rebecca, spoke at the last town council meeting, highlighting our work with some of these local charities and schools, in addition to our involvement in Founders Day and putting Tyrone on the worldwide independent wrestling map. We are in the Roger Spencer community 6 times a year. From those 6 shows, we bring in hundreds of fans each night, not just locally, but from around the state and the region. Fans and wrestlers we bring into town spend their money here, including gassing up at the stations before leaving town, eating at local restaurants for dinner before the show, or running to the stores for snacks. We've been privileged to do all these things because of the great working conditions and support of the town of Tyrone and the Recreation Department. Due to changes in the town ordinances, which I was able to speak with Ms. Perkins about a couple weeks ago, due to the changes in the town ordinances and facility guidelines, we are currently unable to book any future events at the Roger Spencer Community Center. I do understand some alterations in those ordinances are coming up for review to allow us to continue having our home base here in Tyrone. I do welcome anyone to reach out for questions to be at a later time. I would appreciate your support in changing those ordinances so that we can have our events here. And actually, tonight, I will be heading home because in about 24 hours, I have a show tomorrow at East Coweta Middle School. That's a fundraiser for the school programs in East Coweta Wrestling. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for what you do. All right, next I have Matt and Michelle Simpson.
Hi, my name is Matt Simpson. This is my wife, Michelle, our kids, Ava and Emma, and my mom, Kelly. Current address, 518 Adams Road, Fayetteville, but actually grew up on Windfair, a couple houses down from you when you lived there. And we were just mostly here to we wanted to support Matt and Action. It's been an activity that the girls have not, I don't think they've missed one of the ones in Tyrone ever since they've been old enough to go for the last 3 or 4 years. Like Matt said, you know, it's an easy thing, not only because the family enjoys it, but because the money is going to charities, the money that it brings in for the community, that it does to support the people involved with it. Just hoping that if at all possible, there can be a relatively speedy resolution so there's not a lot of disruption with the events, because with there only being 6 a year, if it was to skip the one in June, it would be a good long stretch then until the next one. But I appreciate the chance to speak.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next I have Philip Fields.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Philip Fields. My address is 382 Man Road, Tyrone. Appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight regarding the proposal to potentially approve the alcohol use in our park. I understand the desire to create more community events and attract activity to our city. I believe we all want parks that are vibrant, welcoming, and beneficial to families. However, I want to respectfully express concern about introducing alcohol into the spaces that have traditionally been centered around family, children, and other recreation events. Public parks are one of the few places where parents can bring their children and expect an atmosphere focused on safety, health, and community connection. Approving alcohol use may unintentionally increase problems related to public behavior, impair judgment, litter, noise, and safety concerns that could change the character of these spaces over time. As a pastor of this community, of which I have been for the last 5 years, our church, Courageous Community Church, meets at Operation Mobilization. I spend a lot of time in this community serving and working with families, and I'm also a professional counselor. I've done that for over 30 years. I've worked with a lot of families that have had problems with alcohol abuse, and I don't think that you could put the two together and say that just because you introduce it in a park, that you create a problem for a family, but everybody has to get introduced to it somehow. And so my biggest concern is that this is a slippery slope. And when we begin to approve these things, what we're basically saying to our kids is that this is okay. And I think it opens the door to potential problems in their lives. And at the end of the day, my biggest concern is the next generation. And so my hope and my prayer for our town is that we would keep things like this out of our parks. And what people do in their homes and things of that nature, that's completely up to them. But I ask you to vote against this so that we don't expose children and families to it. Thank you. God bless all of you. I pray for you often.
Thank you very much. Next, I have Mr. Bill Whalen.
Hey, guys. So I'm here to hope that you guys all vote no for this, to alcohol sales in the park here. I don't see, I can't think of one positive thing that could come from it. How many people are you gonna draw here that will only come if there's alcohol? And are those the people that you want to come? I've heard some people say that they're sneaking it in anyway, so those people, if they're sneaking it in, they're gonna keep sneaking it in. When they run out, then they're gonna go to the beer garden or whatever you're gonna call this roped-in area. So, as far as I know for sure you can't have an open container in the park, in Tyrone, any park, or public parks, probably almost everywhere. Even state parks, I don't think in this whole state allow you to have an open container, but we're saying you can't have an open container in Shamrock Park unless it's when we say you can. That sounds to me like you're promoting it, you know? I don't share this, and I sure hate to share it here in public, but I'm a recovering alcoholic. I've been 30 years without a drink. That's why you don't know I'm a recovering alcoholic, because you wouldn't want to know me when I was drinking. I know everything there is to know about sneaking drinks and how people that drink, how they think, and how they're gonna ignore their kids when they're at this park because there's this beer and wine or whatever you're gonna sell over there next to the playground that he could be playing with their kids or doing face painting or balloons or whatever they're gonna do. This is a family event. There is no reason. There can't possibly be a financial benefit to this town to have people that are gonna take a substance in that changes the way they think. It slows their reaction time. It compromises their morals. You think about any bar you've ever been to, what goes on there? Fighting, right? People that are just lying through their teeth about just about everything they say. I know, I am one. I've been there, I've done all of it, you know? What else can I say?
Thank you, sir. Next, I have Marge Garrett.
Hello, Marge Garrett, 125 Whitney Court, Tyrone, Georgia, 30290. Well, I'm here to give a shout out to my friend for over 25 years, Patty Newland. I don't know if I can tell all of our escapades in 3 minutes, Mr. Dial, but this town has been fortunate to have her as an employee. I've worked on and off with the town 3 different times with her. Sandy keeps hiring me back, so I am finally retired, though. But anyway, she's just been an asset to this community. She's put blood, sweat, and tears into this community. 25 summer reading programs. And if you ever came down to the library, you know how many children we have in the library. And I just can't, I'm happy for Linda too, but I never worked with her. But Patty's been a joy to work with. And I hadn't meant to do this, but I put 2 cents in for Matt. He helped us with Friends of the Library on fundraisers, and he's a great guy to have on your team also. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. That's all the forms that I have ahead of time. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Rachel Sharp. Greetings to you all, and so pleased to be a Tyrone resident. Richard and I live on 170 Meadowood Lane, and I really can't say anything better than Bill and all the others have said, but just when I heard about the proposal of the alcohol, especially right now, we're driving around and we're seeing all the signs for all our wonderful graduates, graduating high school, and I'm just thinking, I don't want these young kids to just inadvertently get introduced to alcohol and have that potential to have it abused. And I just like, I get also one of my other first thoughts was you hear people say around, Tyrone, it's just a little bit like Mayberry. We really like it. It's family friendly and, it's going to have wholesome activities and things like that. And I know Mayberry did have the drunk in there or jail, but, I do think a lot of the residents that have lived here, we lived here over 40 years, and we like that image that Tyrone has, and it's trying to develop. We like that too. We're trying to have good, nice places to go and have coffee and things like that, but we don't need to start down that other road. That's just my opinion, but thank you so much.
Thank
you.
Rich. All right. Anyone else?
Mayor, Council, thank you for the opportunity to be here. My name is Randy Jury. Live at 130 Strawberry Lane. I've lived in Tyrone for 36 years. It's more than half my life, so now you know how old I am. But we raised our kids here. All 4 of our kids raised here through the school system, and they're all married, got grandkids, and we love Tyrone. This is home. And it really hurt my heart when I saw that they're wanting to serve alcohol in the park, and I just don't see anything good to come out of that. Yeah, I mean, some of the negative things, crime, public safety, DUI, disturbance, underage drinking. I know that, it's a plan to keep it in a certain area, but those plans have very likely failure. And so I'm just pleading with you to consider to say no. And if I had the power of the mayor right now, I'd say, let's take a vote. All in favor against alcohol, say aye. Okay. That's my 2 cents worth. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Evening, Mayor Dial and council members, thank you so much. My name is Bill Drake, and I have the privilege of serving with Operation Mobilization. And after spending many years in the foreign field, I came to Tyrone. I'm the son of an alcoholic who drank himself to death when I was 24. Before I came to Jesus, I spent a lot of time, bars, nightclubs, And whatever your imagination can take you to, you can apply that to me. This is not about being anti-business or anti-adult freedom. Adults already have many places where alcohol is available. But it's one of the few shared civic spaces where parents can reasonably expect a more family-focused atmosphere. And as I thought about this, I thought, there's a difference between allowing alcohol in private venues and making alcohol part of a public family park experience. Because once alcohol becomes normalized in public places, and I know all about that myself personally, the character of those spaces changes. Even when events are well managed, there can be an increased concerns about intoxication, impaired judgment, literature, and even law enforcement issues. And you know it. Our news is replete with that. And I really appreciated what this man said over here. Are we doing this just so we can get more clientele? And what kind of clientele are we therefore expanding so that we can get those people here? And do we really want that? And I think most of your families, your fathers, your mothers, your pastors, and I don't speak for Operation Mobilization, but I certainly speak for myself and my wife. We don't want it, guys. We don't want it. So don't let us down. And I know that's a heavy, precious thing to say, but it's right out of the heart from someone who was victimized by alcohol, someone who knows all about it. So I respectfully say, vote no. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Richard Sharp, my wife Rachel has already been up, 170 Meadowood Lane. Just two comments. I'd love to know what the police would vote on this issue, since if there were negative outcomes, they would be dealing with that. And the second thing is, if it does get passed, could it be reviewed again in 1 year to see the impact on the community? Thank you.
Thank you. What else? Okay. We will move on to the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we have some exciting presentations to give. And so, Brandon, do you want to get us, do you have any paperwork for me or?
We have the plaques there for the retirees. Yes, sir.
1, 2.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all want to come forward? Patty and Linda? Employees, one of 19 years, almost 25 years, and who spent a great deal of time for the benefit of our town. And proud of them, we admire them. Presentation is words to us about the impact that these people have had on their lives. That's the more rewarding. Had a gathering in the side room and worked for Patty and talked about how much she really helped her be able to communicate. Expect that, did you?
Right now.
And the many, we've all been to all the events of this town, and there's a lot of work that goes into it behind the scenes that we don't. Plaques, and I'm going to give them now we'll get just the two of you together.
Okay,
Get me
thank
out of the
you.
way.
Got the screen in it. We've enjoyed our time serving you all. Out at the library and watch your kids grow up. Programs, there's a lot of thought that comes into that. Work very closely with recreation.
It has truly been an honor to serve and help bring a few smiles to the community. Appreciate it. Thank you.
As a somewhat new grandfather, I have a special place. Patty is now meeting as of about 3 or 4 weeks. I thought you said they were. Right. This one on you.
That one's you, sir.
Okay.
Proclamation from mayor and
Yeah.
council.
We're done with these though, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. I got a lot of papers up here. Oh, you took it from me. I gave it to you. Okay. This next item is presentation of the proclamation for our clerks, for Clerks Week. And so I will read this, and first I want to give a shout out to Sierra. She's watching, and couldn't be here, but she's one of our clerks, so told her I'd give her a shout out. And whereas the office of the municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of our local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of the municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, whereas the office of the municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, in the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the municipal clerk. Now, therefore, we, the mayor and members of town council, do recognize the week of May 3rd through 9th as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our municipal clerks, Dee Baker and Sierra Willis, and to all municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent.
may I say one thing? I couldn't do anything without my rock, Sierra Willis. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This presentation is a certificate of recognition for Philip's 10th year with the town. I don't think I have to tell you all how hard Philip works and all that he contributes to the town. Not only is he our planner, which is a full-time job in itself, he is also our assistant manager. He helps me hold things together. Sometimes probably does a better job than I do at that, but I deeply appreciate Philip. I appreciate his attitude, the way he approaches things, and just the way that, I'm able to feed off him and vice versa when we're facing various ordeals, and those have been pretty often lately. But I just want to recognize Philip. I want to thank him for his service. 10 years these days is a lot for municipal service. I know personally, I know for a fact that Philip could write his ticket anywhere he wanted to go, and he chooses to come here every day, and we appreciate that. And so, Philip, thank you very much. Deeply appreciate you, and I hope to work with you for a lot longer. Might even work for you one day. So, thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Far and away, the best prize that life offers is the chance to work hard at work worth doing. Theodore Roosevelt. I feel that applies to the chance to work for great people. Work is worth doing as well. That's certainly the case here. I look around at my experiences in Tyrone, in the experience of my peers in other municipalities, and I'm grateful to work with honest and good people, which is really the summary of my time here, is how I've done that. I appreciate Brandon's mentorship. I'm the oldest brother. I've never had like the experience of having that type of relationship. I think that's the closest thing with Brandon, and I've appreciated that mentorship, professional mentorship, and genuine, true friendships that I've developed over the past couple of years. Sandy, Scott, Dee are wonderful, true friendships, long-lasting friendships that will transcend my time here. I'm grateful to all of staff and to town council who've come and gone that are still here over the years to make this feel more like a calling than a job. And that is truly the way I feel about it. Thank you for the recognition and above all for the privilege of having done much good and fulfilling work in the past and in the future for the town of Tyrone and for you guys. Thank you.
I'd like to say one thing. Philip's parents are here, but Philip is my work son. So he's wonderful.
And Theo. Okay. All of you employees and past employees, we do value you in all seriousness. Y'all are wonderful. We have the best that at least I'm aware of in the county or region that I've experienced. We have the best. We appreciate you. Okay, next item. Philip, it's on you.
The first item on the agenda is consideration to approve a contract with S&L, excuse me, mic's a little hot, S&L Integrated Systems LLC in an amount not to exceed $107,125.66 for the Shamrock Pavilion AV System Design and Install Project. So this project was part of our SPLOST budgeting for the pavilion. We wanted to make sure that we had a system in place that could handle smaller events and AV work. This was put out to bid, and I do have I should have the bid tabulation in the packet, but well, actually, I'm sorry, we approved that bid tabulation at a previous meeting. This is for the contract, I apologize. But this will provide a basic AV system for us to use at the park. Any kind of really large bands will still need to bring in some supplemental equipment, but that is what is proposed for us to put in here at the park. Any questions? I'm happy to answer.
Philip, the one that I'm a little uncomfortable with the wording in some of where you have, where we say the sound and rear projection system operable by non-technical staff, which is fine, and approved rental groups. I thought when we spoke about this last time, that we had chosen that we were gonna allow our own staff to operate that equipment.
Yeah, that's true. The only approved rental, they would have to be very specifically approved rental groups. The only ones that we would approve would be ones that have a significant AV background. It would not be just anybody. But if they have a significant AV background, we were considering, like when we hire out a DJ to do something, and he has significant experience with that system, we would consider letting them utilize that system for that purpose. But we, of course, do not need to go forward with that. That's not stipulated in the contract before you tonight. That would be just a policy item that we would adopt and go forward with in the future. But it's not something that's listed in this contract. This is between the town and SNL integrated for the actual install and development of that. But yeah.
All right.
Other questions?
You had another phrase in there called, on number 1.9, where we say when work is sufficiently complete. What is sufficiently actually gonna mean?
Yeah, so substantial completion is the contract termination there. There are different phases in a contract when we do construction or otherwise, large projects. There's substantial completion and there's final completion. Substantial completion is the ability to operate this, in this circumstance, to operate the system, or the system has functionality. It may still require final punch list items. As an example, when the pavilion was completed, substantial completion was the issuance of a CO, but there were still landscaping items and things that needed to be completed, punch list items, but the building was usable for its intended purpose. So contracts usually stipulate between substantial completion and final completion, and that's what this is in this circumstance.
Thank you for that.
I just have a comment along Mr. Campbell's line of questioning that I would like to see a document, a guideline in place for Parks and Rec to have to criterize who is going to touch this equipment.
Sure, absolutely.
So I would like to see that document, and maybe we could tweak it if it needed to, if we had any further concerns, but at least bring as an outline, so that way Parks and Rec isn't just left to their own determination of who's qualified.
Very good, we can
Thank you.
absolutely do that.
Anyone else? Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve a contract with SNL Integrated Systems LLC in an amount not to exceed $107,125.66 for the Shamrock Pavilion AV System Design and Install Project TYR 2026-1.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, next item, Philip?
Thank you. The next item is a consideration to approve a night market event sponsored by the Town of Tyrone Downtown Development Authority to include off-premises sale of alcohol at Shamrock Park on Friday. This is actually June 12th, not the 19th. I apologize for that. Friday, June 12th of this year. And to also approve a contract for this event as well. This contract would be between the DDA, the town, and Night Market themselves. So we did previously adopt an ordinance provisions in Chapter 4, Article 6 of the code to allow licensed alcoholic beverage caterers to sell alcohol by the drink off premises at authorized catered functions in the park if it was during a designated area and it was done through all of the authorized means that we had established in that ordinance. The Town of Tyrone DDA has had discussions with Mr. Jason Bass, who's the operator of Night Market, an established market and festival currently operating in Peachtree City and other locations, to bring the event to Tyrone. Under the proposed arrangement, the DDA would serve as the event sponsor and Mr. Bass as the operator. The agreement governing the event will be between all three. The town will understand, it clarifies the town's function, the DDA's function, and Mr. Bass's function, with the town essentially providing facilities for it, but all other items being handled by the DDA and Mr. Bass through Night Market.
All right, are there any questions for Philip or maybe even for Dennis? I will point out that there were some good points made tonight about, for example, what are the police, how would the police weigh in on that? And I think we have worked with the police on this type of item. I do recall when we first started discussing this, was probably 3 years ago, somewhere in there. We did say that if we're going to allow this, then we need to allow it for kind of a test period. I think somebody else made that point. And I think if we find that it is not working, there's some adverse things that are going on, certainly I would jump in. I don't know that I will have a vote, but that would be certainly my opinion. But I did want to make sure that we pointed out that some of the things that were mentioned tonight have already been brought up as concerns from this body.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a prepared statement I'd like to read.
Yes, ma'am.
That I prepared myself. I didn't talk to anybody in the audience other than my husband. Just bear with me. I'll make it as quick as possible, but I want to make sure this is all on the record and that I make sure I hit all the points that I've prayed about and considered. So, alcohol is not permitted in Georgia state parks except in private areas. This is to maintain a family-friendly atmosphere and prevent public disturbances. I stress, prevent them, not allow them and react. I believe this should also be the case in Tyrone, as it has been since 1911, when our town was founded. Town parks are no place for alcohol. As town council, we have a responsibility to ensure our parks are family-friendly and for all citizens. Adult beverages can be consumed and enjoyed privately within businesses and households in Tyrone. We have proximity ordinances in place to restrict the sale of alcohol near churches, schools, libraries, residence, and treatment centers. This is our ordinance that I'm reading. The Town of Tyrone implements these ordinances to protect public health, safety, and welfare. By restricting alcohol sales, the town aims to, number one, protect minors, limit the exposure of children to alcohol advertising and consumption. Number two, prevent underage access, reduce the likelihood of alcohol being sold to or obtained by minors in areas where they congregate. Number three, maintain public order, minimize alcohol-related disturbances or loitering near educational and recreational facilities. These rules align with Georgia State Code. Having an event at Shamrock Park and selling alcohol seems to ignore our own ordinances to protect minors and seems to me to actually invite exposure and alcohol usage, possible possession and consumption of alcohol by minors. Also, the possibility of minors encountering intoxicated people in our recreational facilities. This is not an acceptable risk to me. Q Public actually shows our public library's property lines at 145 Commerce Drive are adjacent to the main lawn area of Shamrock Park. Is this a violation of our 300-foot proximity required by our ordinance? Perhaps Mr. Davenport could address that question in just a moment. Also, several residential and agricultural zone properties exist on Sonoya Road from 962 to 970, and these also may consider proximity considerations. In my opinion, alcohol sales at Shamrock Park may not violate the letter of the law, but they violate the spirit of the law. We've been told by some that this is a type of event that will draw people to the downtown area, encourage development in this area. I've seen no hard data to support this statement, and I believe this thought may be a myth. I asked Google to give me a quantitative stat about the benefits of an event like Night Market. Gemini gave me some surprising facts, such as, and I quote, "The sales may provide immediate revenue gains, but often produce net economy losses when factoring social cost. Economic drawbacks include social cost. Research indicates that for every dollar gained in revenue, communities often pay more in negative externalities. The total economic cost of alcohol misuse in the United States is estimated by the CDC at roughly $249 billion annually to cover healthcare, criminal justice, and lost productivity. Displacement effect. Economists argue that spending at events often reallocates existing dollars rather than creating new wealth, meaning the development is simply a shift in where residents spend their money." And that's the end of that quote from Gemini. In the case of this event that is being managed by a third-party event management company, I would argue that most of the dollars spent would actually leave Tyrone. Given these negative facts, quantitative facts that I just read, I do not support the DDA being a sponsor of the Night Market event in June at our beloved Shamrock Park. My main objection is for the protection of our children. 2, possible alcohol use and abuse. The benefits do not outweigh the potential cost to our town. I want to encourage the DDA to focus on viable economic development projects and public engagement to promote our town to new entrepreneurs and investors, and also to support our legacy businesses, while leaving an event like this to our Parks and Recreation Department under the new leadership of Christy McKinney. The Spring Market family-friendly event was a huge success and very well attended and enjoyed by all. My hope is that we will have many more wholesome events like that one in the coming years. Most of us in this room, if not all of us, know someone who was or is dealing with a loved one who has an alcohol problem. Please consider the unintended injuries to our citizens by selling alcohol at one of our events. Consider causing one little one to go astray. There are biblical consequences that will play out, and we would never want to do that if we could prevent it. Would we? Finally, I'm asking you that you let your light shine and be good shepherds to our community, not allowing this unprecedented happening to occur. Sorry, I read it before with no tears. At our good town. Thank you for considering the words offered in humility and in reverent fear of the Lord. On this, the 75th annual observation of the National Day of Prayer, and over 150 national calls to prayer since 1775. Again, I apologize for getting emotional. Maybe it's seeing little Theo here. This is what we want our town to be, a place for all. Not one person spoke in favor of this. And I ask council to consider and I know many of you do not partake of alcohol, not to allow this to happen at our events in our town when we have something to say about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions?
Mr. Davenport, I have a question for you. On this particular vote, are we voting just on the night market event and the alcohol sales separately, or is that going to be all one vote?
Councilmember Campbell, if my recollection is correct, when you took action to amend your code to allow alcohol sales in places like Shamrock Park, you did that with the stipulation that you would have approval of those events, prior approval of those events. If you approve, it can happen. The framework for the ordinance allows that methodology of approval to occur. What you have before you this evening is a contract for night market, and included in that contract, if I'm not mistaken, deals with the issue of alcohol sales. So approval of this contract in this form would implicitly be your approval of alcohol sales, if that is part of this contract, as opposed to a separate approval.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
I would like to hear from maybe the DDA or someone from the night market to talk about what these events look like in other parks and other municipalities, and just to kind of get a sense of what we're looking at. Which one would like to come first?
Mr. Bass here.
Mr. Bass.
Everybody.
Hey.
Hello. Jason Bass. I'm not a resident of Tyrone, but it took me approximately 4 minutes to get here. I live in Sharpsburg, right down the street. I bring my kids to Shamrock Park. We ride our bikes. We play on the playgrounds. It's a wonderful town that you have here, and I'm very excited to be able to bring Night Market here. But for those that don't know much about Night Market, it was established in October of 2017 in Peachtree City with Peachtree City's support. In all of those years, we have not had a single incident, hard stop. Not related to alcohol, not related to fights, not related to anything. I reached out to one of my sergeant friends to ask her for that factually, and I haven't gotten an answer yet. But I have multiple police officers at every event, and they have never had an issue. One incident that I can think of was when the lake was lowered. I don't know if you remember all those years back that Peachtree City had to drain the lake. One child, ironically, is a friend of mine's now. I find out years later that it was her kid that got, quote unquote, lost because they had wandered out into the muck of the lake. It had nothing to do with Night Market. It could have happened on any evening, except that there were a lot of people who came together for that event. So I hope that that resonates with you. I will say also, I heard a little bit of talk about economic development. My organization as an event planner does not walk away with a ton of your money. That's not how this works. The vendors that we have come, they're local vendors. These are vendors who live in our communities. Their success is that's why I do this, right? To help these small businesses, these solopreneurs, these people who have passions to do their craft. We want them to come and we want them to succeed. That's what this is about. The alcohol component is one of the 4 pillars that I say Night Market stands on. Live music, the art, food, and the alcohol component. So I have denied offers in other areas when they did not want the alcohol. I said, I'm sorry, that just can't be a Night Market. You can do another event, but it just won't be called Night Market because that's not what the Night Market brand is about. It's all inclusive. But I say all of that with confidence that we have never had an issue. Our alcohol vendors are almost always local one single local alcohol vendor, right? So it's, again, putting money right back into your community. And it is their responsibility primarily, but it's really on all of us as event planners to make sure that people who are able to buy alcohol are of age. They are carded. We've done the bracelets that you get when you typically go into a place like a concert and you have to prove your age. Um, and honestly, I'm open to talking about what it could look like in other ways to make sure that we protect our community and our children as best as possible. Any other specific questions I can address?
Who's a local vendor?
I don't think we've identified one yet, but we were talking about utilizing,
Partners Pizza?
was it Partners Pizza?
Partners Pizza.
I think there were a few names that were thrown out. And honestly, I'd love to have, at some of our night markets years ago, we had multiple vendors. As an event planner, that was a little too much for me to deal with. I'd prefer to just have the one like I do now in Peachtree City. And if anybody's curious, it's Curious Pig.
I got that.
No pun intended, I didn't mean that. But he is our sole alcohol provider, and I've chosen to partner with him on that simply because of the level of responsibility that he brings with him.
Thank you. Can the DDA?
Can I ask a
Oh, go
question
ahead,
real
sorry.
quick? I know that the Peachtree City night market, it's, I believe, beer, wine, and signature type cocktail type thing. Is that
correct.
what this will be as well?
Like I said, I'm open to talking about how we might want to customize it for this, but yes, typically we really want to celebrate all things craft.
Right.
So the beer is typically a craft beer. Wine is a little bit more difficult, but when it's a cocktail, we ask Curious Pig to come up with at least 2 signature sips, we call them.
Okay.
And they play on the community, they play on the seasonality of it, and it seems to be pretty well received.
Okay.
I'll just note that the alcohol served is dependent on the underlying license holder's permissions. So if, it depends on what they have, but I believe it would be only beer and wine, or really no malt beverages, beer and wine. So.
Because of partners, is that? Got it.
Okay.
Any more questions for Mr. Bass?
I'm only going to say that the first night market of the season in Peachtree City is tomorrow night. I welcome you all to come and experience it for yourself if you haven't already, and see just how beautiful it is to see thousands of families, hundreds of families, thousands of people on the lawn, on their blankets with lawn chairs. The kids are playing. It's really a beautiful, beautiful sight to see the community come together like that. And I think you'll find that the alcohol is a very small component, but that it is one that I feel is important to be able to really stand on what I feel night market is all about. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tracy? You got a question for Tracy?
Yeah, I just want him to talk.
What was your question? He was up here for a minute.
Oh, but my question for you was, well, my question now is, what is your experience with working with Night Market right now and trying to develop this contract, hearing about the product that he has already, put in Peachtree City, and how you think it would best serve Tyrone?
I've been to the night market in Peachtree City several times. I'll be there tomorrow night. I'll see you there, Jason. It's an event that it does bring people into our community, and I know that the council is all about bringing our community into the parks, bringing them downtown. This particular case is a look and see type of approach from the DDA's perspective. All board members said, let's try this one time and see how it works. If it works well, we would like to repeat it. If it doesn't work well, maybe reframe it and try something different. As you heard from Jason, he's flexible on what we can do here. And I would say that we could lean on him. He's the expert on the planning side of things, so he can help us plan the event. My expectation, I'm only speaking for me now, is that the night market here in Tyrone would be very similar to how the Peachtree City night market is run and operated. Not much different than that. And there are 3 other DDA members in the room tonight, strategically placed for lack of quorum. They want to see something unique happen here, and this is our attempt at trying to make that unique.
Thank you. Any other questions for either Mr. Young or Mr. Bass? We're
I
not-
did have a
Yes, ma'am.
question that, in my notes about the proximity law. Because the property line of the library, if you click on the property at 145 Commerce Drive, it shows the entire property, including the lake, is in the within the scope of that property. Now, I understand that 300 feet may be as the crow flies from the front door of the library. I'm not sure if it's accessibility, but one of my other problems with it is the proximity to the tennis courts, the basketball courts, the library, all these recreational facilities that are designed for children. Drake Field's another horse of a different color. I don't want to address Peachtree City. I'm talking about our town and our need to keep the proximity laws and not violate them. And also the properties across the street. I understand I don't remember the exact foot. You have to be from a residential property or an agricultural zone property, but there's also proximity laws requiring that. So I just would like y'all to, either you or Philip, either one or both, to address the proximity issues.
You crafted your question in such a way so that I want you to understand that the methodology of measuring is different among different jurisdictions. Your methodology of measuring is what your code says it is. It could be as the crow flies, it could be nearest point property line to property line, it could be going out the front entrance in a reasonable travel route to get to the front entrance of the next location. So the methodology is not constant, it's whatever your code says it is. One of the conversations I've had with this council and other government officials over the years is your code is for everyone in the town. It's for the citizens. It's for private vendors. You set your code as to what your code is. You make the rules. Mayor and council of Tyrone and other cities and towns and counties are not required to follow that code because you set the code. You can exempt yourself from the code if you choose to do so. That's what your status is as a government. For example, I think your sign out front probably violates your sign ordinance. You knew that ahead of time, but you can because it's your code and you can exempt yourself from your code. So it's not unheard of for that type of decision to happen among governments. It throws the distance requirements out the window. So if you want to do it, you can. Would you be violating your distance requirements? Possibly, depending on your methodology, but it wouldn't matter because you can exempt yourself from that.
I'll add, because I remembered this from from the discussion of our initial creation of this ordinance, this topic came up about distance requirements. The town actually has 2 distance requirements that are present in the town, depending on where you're located. We have within the downtown district of the town, so within basically the DDA's boundary or one of our character area boundaries, we have a distance requirement, which is the state minimum distance requirement. This was adopted many years ago. Outside of that character area or that boundary, we have another distancing requirement, which is the town's old distancing requirement. Libraries and residential properties in that old requirement had distance measures, which you referenced were 300 feet. The state minimum distancing requirements inside the downtown area are the state minimum, and they do not list a minimum distance between libraries and residential uses in the downtown area. So we talked about this when we developed this ordinance, talking about the park, and this topic came up. Of course, what Mr. Davenport stated is true as well, but downtown we actually have the state minimum distance requirements. So if that helps explain where our ordinance stands in this location, that's what it states.
Right. I understand the letter of the law, but I also understand the intent of the law, and it's to protect the minors. So that just look for the record. The intent is to prevent exposure in all of those areas listed.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. If anybody decides to make a motion, I would point out that, remember that it's June 12th, not June 19th.
I'll
I'm
make a
ready.
motion that we deny the night market on June 19th, sponsored by the DDA.
Is there a second? Failure of a second. Motion fails. Is there another motion?
I make a motion that we approve the night market event sponsored by the Tyrone Downtown Development Authority for June 12th, 2026.
Yes, that's correct, June 12th. All right, is there a second?
I second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Are you going to take a opposed vote?
Is- All in favor? It was 3-1. I'm sorry. Okay, all right, yes, it's 3-1. Okay, item number 8, Philip?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next item on the agenda is consideration to approve a public engagement services agreement from Elevating Missions Consulting for an amount not to exceed $22,000. The town is required to maintain a current comprehensive plan, and a condition of that is that we have a public engagement element in that plan. We're planning on doing most of the comprehensive plan in-house, save the public engagement services, which we are looking to contract. I did have a bid tabulation in the packet that shows the 3 bids that I got on this particular work. It's technical services, so we don't necessarily have to go out to bid, but it was a large item, so we asked for 3 quotes based on the same scope of services. And staff does recommend approval to award this contract to Elevating Missions Consulting to do our public engagement for the comprehensive plan.
Any questions about this?
Yes, sir.
Don't take this wrong. Do we need this? I mean, as far as, in the past, it always seemed that we had the ability to do all of that. We used the ARC, right, in the past to do that.
Yeah, we leaned very heavily on the Atlanta Regional Commission. They are spread thin on their services. The state kind of obligates regional commissions to help cities that, with their comprehensive plans, if they need that assistance. We've relied on them for the past 2 updates of the plan. They like for communities that have done previous, if you have the ability to do it on your own, they highly encourage you to do it because their resources are very limited. So we did take advantage of their services mostly for public engagement. If we're to do this in-house, yes, it's staff's opinion that we do need these services. It's not something that I would be able to do on my own.
That's all I want to know. Thank you.
And that dollar figure is at the maybe half, if not a third, of other potential quotes, right?
Yeah, so the next highest quote was $33,500, and then our biggest quote was $64,800. To put together an entire comprehensive plan, outsource the whole thing would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $110,000. So we're trying to save as much money as we can on that. I feel confident I can assemble the technical aspects of it, but the public engagement requires many hands and many places at one point in time, so.
Done.
Philip, how will it be determined where it says 10 stakeholder interviews, up to 5 facilitated steering committee meetings, 3 open house? How are those going to be determined and who participates on them?
So if it's an open meeting, so the steering committee is limited to 10 to 12 members. That steering committee, we put out a survey, we get those back, and then excuse me, when we get those back, we have to make a selection. Staff's determination of how we'll select that is really trying to get a good cross-section of residents, the questionnaire to get on the steering committee. I ask what street they live on, kind of where they're located in town. So we're going to try and cover all corners of the town with that steering committee. The final list of that steering committee does need to be approved by mayor and council. So we will get your approval to actually assemble that steering committee and have them meet on a regular basis. So that's how that will be handled. Stakeholder interviews, we always have more people that fill out the steering committee form than we have room for. So the stakeholder interviews are going to be long form kind of interviews, maybe like 10 to 15 minutes where I go through questions, or Katie with Elevating Missions will go through questions, and it'll kind of be like a stakeholder interview with those individuals to get more of a long form format from them. And that's usually what we do there. Everything else, all other public engagement, is all of the public is involved, and it's going out to them, the public open houses, all of the surveys, everything that we do there is for everybody to participate in, and we're going to be pushing that pretty heavily.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Their motion.
I'll make a motion to approve a public engagement services agreement from Elevating Missions Consulting for an amount not to exceed $22,000.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That was 4-0.
Thank you.
All right, Brandon?
All right, good evening. Again, next item is consideration to issue an RFP for auditing services. So we've partnered with Rushton and Company to conduct annual independent financial audits since 2011. Councilwoman Wheeler recently expressed interest in the town seeking proposals from other audit firms, given the length of this relationship. I raised this matter with you guys at the last meeting, and you guys requested that I come back after getting more information, more specifically confirming our current contract status. I've been able to determine that we do not have a contract right now, a multi-year contract with Rushton. As is typical of these types of services, we execute an annual engagement letter. That's how that's in place of the contract. It outlines the scope of work, responsibilities, and fees for each fiscal year. Accordingly, we have no contractual restriction that would prevent us from issuing an RFP for audit services should council choose to do so. I do want to note here, Sandy and I talked about this yesterday, it would be extremely difficult if you want to issue an RFP to do it, to get it, the RFP out, somebody selected and engaged for this year's requirement for our audit. So if you guys want to do an RFP, it would be for this time next year, but it would give us that opportunity if that's what council chooses to do. There's no federal or state laws requiring local governments to periodically change external auditors. However, several professional organizations, including Georgia Municipal Association, International City County Management Association, and others, do have guidance. So the Georgia Municipal Association, their typical structure includes a 1-year initial term with up to 4 annual renewals. These are just guidelines. And a competitive procurement of audit services approximately every 5 years is a common practice. ICMA, periodic re-procurement of audit services, typically on a 5-year cycle, is considered a sound governance practice. The American Institute of Certified Public Accountants emphasizes rotation of the lead audit partner rather than mandatory rotation of the firm. The lead audit partner rotation is generally recommended every 5 to 7 years to maintain independent and professional objectivity. And finally, the Government Finance Officers Association recommends periodic competitive audit services typically every 5 years. So there's a pattern there. Continuation with the same firm is appropriate when performance, pricing, and independence remain satisfactory. So reviewing our history with Rushton, we had Mr. Holden from 2011 to 2013 as our lead, Sam Latimer from 2013 to 2016, and then Julie George from 2017 to present. So she has been the longest serving lead auditor since we've been with Rushton. So it does reflect periodic rotation, but not as often recently. Right now, there's no, as far as funding, there's no funding required to issue an RFP. It's just staff time to put the documentation together. Staff recommendation is we're just seeking direction tonight to either continue utilizing Russian and Company or authorize staff to issue an RFP. And editing what I've written here, again, emphasizing that if we issue an RFP, it'll be for the next cycle after this.
Any
Danny and I are
questions?
ready to answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, I mean, I have a question. I'm just trying to, I guess, get my mind wrapped around what's the potential outcome supposed to be for doing this. Like we have an auditing company that we've used. They've gone through the rotations. As we can see, we can request a different lead auditor if we so choose to. Sending out an RFP means that staff has to commit time and effort in preparing that document to send it out. Then you have to get people together in order to review those documents. Then if all of them are way higher than what we were paying before, then what are we supposed to go back to them after we told them no? Or, I mean, I'm trying to see what's the benefit to us, because, you know, we've obviously been with this firm since 2011. It's 2026, and they're an independent organization that reviews our books. They don't have like any incentive to do anything differently. So, like, can someone please, like, just, you know, help me to understand why this is necessary right now?
I'd like to speak to that if I could.
Yeah.
This came from actually my initial training with GMA. And
Uh-huh.
when we went to the training, it was suggested that, like Brandon showed us with the different organizations, that typically every 5 years, you put out for an RFP for new services. That's so you get a new set of eyes that we're not missing anything. You know, knowing that I suppose a new lead auditor could be different. I mean, it is concerning to me that we've had the same one since 2017. You just get a little comfortable in what you're looking at, and your eyes don't always see what they're supposed to see. So I just think, given the best practices from the different organizations, all of them basically citing the same language of between 1 to 5 years, I think it's incumbent upon us to be responsible in making sure that if we don't put out an RFP and we stick with this auditing firm, we definitely need a new lead auditor, because I think we just need to be responsible in a new set of eyes on, and that was something that I was unaware of until it was brought tonight.
Well, thank you for bringing it to our attention, and I was also in the GMA training as well, and I do remember them talking about having rotations. I'd never really considered it a priority, mainly because the auditing firm that we've used, they've done such a really good job with the auditors, and they work within the town in a way that, like, these auditors are here months before we even get a report. And they've been working with staff, they work with every different department, and it's some benefit to that, especially with them understanding our systems. My concern would be, if we put this out for RFP, we do get someone different, they might not be familiar with our systems, our processes, our people, and then that could cause a backlog on staff, and we're already limited in the number of people that we have. And I do agree with you that a fresh set of eyes is necessary, so I think it would probably be a little bit less less of a burden on staff if we requested another lead auditor. And then if we decide in the future that we need to look at different auditing services, that we look at everything from the processes that we use and make sure that those firms actually have people on their staff that can handle what it is that we do. Because a lot of times this can be a burden on the staff, and we don't have a big staff as it is.
And I agree with both of you to a certain extent. I do. I've done a little background check, and trying to find accounting, auditing firms are difficult. There's not a whole lot of them out there today. And we have been very successful with Rushton and Company. And I have had numerous 4 or 5 conversations with Ms. George, and, asking my opinions, and I'm sure they've met with all of our council people periodically to ask if there's any indiscretions that we've noticed. Is there anything that, of any concern that we have? And I don't know. I'm afraid if we put it out for an RFP, we're stuck with what we get at that point in time. We can't go back at it. And I hate to use the phrase, if it ain't broken, don't fix it, but I respectfully understand where you're coming from and what they have told you. But Sandy, I think you're the real catalyst here, and you're the one that knows better than all of us. Is there something you can add to that?
Yeah, I mean, something I want you to be aware of is that a lot of audit firms do not do the financials for you, and it takes hours and hours, days to put those financials together. If we go to another audit firm and they don't put financials together, I cannot do that myself. I cannot do HR and all of finance and do financials. It's kind of like Philip said with the comp plan. I mean, that's just more than I can handle. So that would be another consideration. We'd have to find somebody that can do those financials. Something else is the reason we have stuck with Rushton for so long is because I've not gone back out, because we had in the past an audit firm that just didn't do as good a job. They didn't talk to the other departments and go through the procedures as well. They didn't catch very many mistakes. Something Rushton does do is they catch mistakes, which is good because we're all human and mistakes happen. And I can't tell you they catch every mistake because they don't look at every single thing we've done all year. But they do catch mistakes and we fix them. And that's very important to me because I'm the one that's supposed to make sure that nothing is happening in the town incorrectly. And I really like that. I feel very comfortable that they do have that ability to really go through. Although we haven't changed from Julie George for the senior, she's had multiple juniors underneath her, and they're the ones that do most of the grunt work, per se. So we do have fresh eyes. Pretty much almost every year, there's at least 1 or 2 new ones coming in.
And I think that's what was most important to me. Like, not, again, being new, coming in from training and hearing and recognizing and wanting to just bring it to the forefront. And I appreciate you, Brandon, bringing all of this. And, if it is acceptable to simply find a new lead audit partner to have new eyes, I think that's where my intent is coming from. It's not, oh, we've got to go have a whole new firm. It's, let's just make sure that we've got fresh eyes on it.
And
That
my
just
question to that is there's 2 different ways you can do a lead. You can have the lead senior, which is Julie George, who gave the presentation in February, or we could have the lead partner, because even though her staff does the stuff and she's here most of the time and looking over them, and she looks at everything, she also takes it to a partner in the firm, and he looks it over. We can either have her change or we can have the partner change. So I don't know which way you
I have
would
no
prefer to
preference.
do.
Honestly, it's just making sure that we are just keeping fresh. I have no preference.
Is the partner's hourly rate higher than the senior's?
No, it's all
hour-
part of the, it's all part of the.
It's just a
package.
package.
The package,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
So given that, I am fully comfortable saying that an RFP doesn't have to go out, but I would like us to consider within, I see where it was 3 years that they were rotating, but then now it's been almost 10. That's just my 2 cents.
I have a question. Is there a way to document who the junior lead is or the team that comes in? Can we track who they are so that we can have evidence to show these aren't the same eyes always looking at these numbers? Because I've seen, coming from the financial world, I've seen things that are errors, innocent errors that get missed. And I'm not saying that anyone would ever do that on purpose, but again, like the fresh eyes, but I think maybe just having a little more information on who the team was that came in, and they're not all the same. The partner reviewing it's not the same, and document those persons that have put eyes on it.
I can try to see, I'll do what I can remember off the top of my head, and I'll try to have Julie go back and see if she can figure it out. John Holden doesn't work for them anymore. He's actually a client of theirs now, because he works for a government. Sam Latimer is now a partner in the firm, and he actually has a role in AICP, way up in the federal. He actually helps to make the rules for accounting in government, so he's pretty high up there. But yeah, I could probably get that list from them if you want that, and we can keep track of it from now on.
I think that would be very consoling to us to know.
Right.
I understand that.
All right, so are we clear on our directives as far as changing up
So
people or?
ultimately, if you want to change, we could technically change this year. I mean, we're getting ready to sign the engagement letter now. I just need direction from you if
Just the
that's what you want.
RFP that we don't have time for. So,
Right.
So then, council, if somebody could clearly articulate what kind of change you would like.
I can make a motion to remove, I don't know the right language, but remove the consideration for issuing an RFP for auditing services, and in lieu of that, ensuring that we have a 3-year rotating cycle of lead auditors or partners.
Either or?
Yes. That,
And to track.
Yeah, and track the juniors also. Yes, make sure that's communicated to us.
Yeah.
I think it is when they present to us. I think they put the names in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, is everybody comfortable with that?
Yes.
Is there a second to that?
I
motion?
second it.
Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right,
that helped.
Scott, you're next. And thank you for bringing that to our attention, Ms. Wheeler.
Thank you.
It's just trying to understand it, and Brandon's information helped,
Good call.
You're on.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
Tonight, I'm bringing forward to you consideration to award project number PW 2026-01, which is the 2026 asphalt resurfacing project to Shepco Paving Incorporated for the base bid amount of $461,123.40. This year's asphalt resurfacing project consists of paving Donegal Drive, Wickham Drive, Taylor Ridge, Park Drive, Hanley Court, Brunswick Drive, Arbor Crest, and Dover Chase. The project was advertised and bids were received and read aloud on April 23rd of 2026 at 10 a.m. The lowest responsive and responsible bid was $461,123.40 by Shepco Paving Incorporated, and this bid was within budget. Funding sources for this is general funds, the G.LRA supplemental grant, the G.LMIG grant, and the 2023 SPLOST. Staff requests that council award project PW 2026-01, the 2026 asphalt resurfacing project, and for the mayor to execute the agreement to Shepco Paving Incorporated for the total sum of base bid at $461,123.40. Attached, you'll find the bid tabulation sheet from the bid opening.
Okay. Any questions?
Scott, how do you vet, these are new names for me, and I'm obviously not in the paving business, but how do you vent those to know that even though they're lowest bidder, but how are they the most responsible bidder?
Well, responsible is a harder thing than responsive because the bid is normally pretty easy to find responsive. We check references that they have. We sometimes hear information from other pavers about companies. For example, a big paving company may not come and do just the paving inlay project because it's really too small for them. They don't make as much money as if they are out doing like an FDR project. So they will pass it along to somebody, a smaller company that does that kind of work for them. They may work as a sub for them, or they may bid the project themselves. So sometimes you hear about things like that. The engineering companies we work with have experience with a lot of companies, so they are very valuable in guiding us to and giving us some information. This actual Shepco company, Shepco Paving Incorporated, has done work for us before over in Shamrock Industrial Boulevard. If you remember, as you drive into the Shamrock Industrial Boulevard, there's a very sharp turn that used to go up a steep hill.
Yeah.
And when you went up that steep hill, there was a dip all the way across the road. They were the company that came in and paved that section and took the dip out of the road for us. So this company, we feel very comfortable with moving forward with.
Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we award project PW 2026-01, the 2026 asphalt resurfacing project to Shepco Paving Incorporated for the base bid amount of $461,123.40.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you, council.
Yes, thank you. All right, our next public comment period is like before. You can speak on anything you want.
Mayor, Council, my name is David Ablett. I live at 189 Castlewood Road in Tyrone. I also own a couple of properties on Commerce Drive. The big parking lot on 120 seems to be the overflow parking lot for the park, for the library, for the rec center, and for the fishing. I come there, I work there, I own the place, and I see vehicles from every county in the state parked in the parking lot. And, you know, the park is a family event place. And so my concern here is about the night market. I know it's passed. But my concern is because in Peachtree City, he said there have been no reports. Because there are no reports doesn't mean nothing happens. There are events at the park. Let me see, spring market, Founder's Day, trick and treating, and Christmas. Every event, I have up to 50, maybe even 70 cars parked in that lot. I'm happy for that. I feel it's my civic duty to allow it to happen, but it's not been without incident. I've had cars doing donuts in the parking lot after events. I've had cars driving across the grass because they couldn't get out through the actual entry-exit lanes. These have all been an expense for me. It cost me $1,200 to have glass replaced when stones were thrown through the windows one night after the firework display. You know, events happen, and when alcohol is involved, even minutely, I mean, I'm not against drinking. I mean, I enjoy a glass of wine at a Neil Diamond concert. You know, sitting on the grass is a pleasant occasion. But if it develops a different personality trait. And I just want to say that, yeah, the parking lot's there. But if events happen, you know, I will, you know, I might restrict how it's used. I don't want my building damaged anymore. I don't want the field damaged. And I've just, I want to just put that out there, because things aren't reported, doesn't mean they don't happen. I didn't report it to the police. It's a $1,200 piece of glass, 2 panes of glass, actually. But there was nobody could be, nobody was seen doing it. I've installed cameras since then. Cost me another $800 to put security cameras in. But, there's always things that don't get reported. And I want you just to be aware of that. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Any other public comment? Okay, staff comments?
Just quickly, I want to just publicly announce, we've already advertised it once, on May 19th here at Town Hall from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., Microsoft is hosting a public open house where the public can come and get information on the data center. There will be it'll be drop-in, there will be stations set up to discuss different topics of concern. And obviously, like I said, the public is encouraged to attend to get their questions answered about the data center. That's all I have.
Any other staff comments?
Advanced voting ends at the end of next week on Friday, May 15th, and the election is May 19th at the library. And please come out because this is an important general election for senator, governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, judges, school board, you name it. Please come out and vote. Also, go to myvoterpage.com to see where your polling place is for voting day. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other staff comments? Okay, are there any council comments?
I have a question for, I guess, I don't know, Scott or Philip, I don't know who. Arrowwood, how long is that going to be closed? Do we know?
Well, I mean, Scott, you would probably have more up-to-date information than me. The intention was that Arrowwood would be closed, it could be closed for approximately a month, was the timeline. I think we're probably two weeks into it. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think 2 to 4 weeks is.
It closed on the 14th of April, so next week would be a month. Will it?
Yeah, council actually approved a longer period of that it could actually be closed for. From what I gathered from the contractor last week was that they were talking about 2 to 4 weeks to finish up some of the paving stuff over there.
It's looking good. It's really working. I appreciate it, and it'll be nice when it's finished. Could I get an update on just when Arrowwood will be open back up?
I'll ask them and
Thank
try
you.
to get that information for council.
Thank you.
A more definitive answer.
Is there an update on the Pendleton Dam, that gas line that was discovered that you were mentioning?
If you're talking about what I said last week in my weekly report about, yeah, that was a water line.
A water line.
Scott has more information on that, but it's, I'll let you, I know you gave me an update today, and it's kind of, things change by the minute here with this, so I'll let you get the
depending on
most
who-
up-to-date information.
Depending on who we're talking to. So there's a water line that goes across the dam that Georgia Safe Dams requires us to either remove it or, which is the thing that we really prefer to do because you don't want pressurized lines on a dam if you can help it, or encase it. The plans called for it to be encased. There is a 8-inch line that feeds from Briar Hill subdivision back through the wetland area into Pendleton. That line feeds Pendleton, Swanson, and Berry Hill, or, yeah, Berry Hill, yeah. Those subdivisions are all on that one line. There's nothing else that loops them back into a system. So there's been discussions on when we take this pipe out, what's going to happen. Originally, when the water department was reviewed plans, they were okay with the closing of that line because Pendleton itself loops around. So Pendleton comes down at both sides of Pendleton Drive, the dam part and the part at the top of the lake where the 3 culverts project was done a couple years ago. So there should be sufficient water to go up to Berry Hill. What happened was when they closed the line off, they wanted to test to make sure there wasn't going to be any issues. When they turned the line off, Berry Hill went low on pressure. So they realized we have an issue somewhere because we're not getting flow. There was, in the culvert project, there was a water line that ran underneath there. There was a valve that was installed to shut that off to be able to do the work on the culverts and not, in danger of something, the pipe breaks or something like that, or figure out if they had to move the pipe or what all the things they wanted to do with it, the pipe would be isolated. When that went on, everything was fine and still operated with the pipe that went over the dam. Right now, they are not sure of whether the pipe underneath the triple culverts exists or does not exist, because we have some photographs that appeared that it exists, and perhaps a valve was closed, and we have the water department who did some valves and opened a fire hydrant and started losing pressure. So I'm actually meeting with them tomorrow on site to go over this, and so we can try to get to the bottom of this. If we can reopen that pipe and get it flowing or install a new pipe in that location, that would allow us to actually potentially remove the pipe across the dam, which is even a better situation for us. So that's what we're trying to iron out, and it's a little complicated, and it's going to be one of those things that it's going to take a little bit of time, but we're pushing forward on it very quickly. And the water department has been very good about going out and trying to test this immediately and try to figure out what's going on. So hopefully we'll have some quick resolution on that, and then we'll be able to forward a plan of what we're going to do, and any costs associated with that, and who shares those costs or who pays for it. So that's kind of the the short story of the long story. Does that answer your question?
As much information as you have, yes. But, I'm just looking at this is totally blowing the timeline. And as far as, discovering this, that wasn't even on the map as far as I know, right? It was not, they had no record showing that it was there. And so, anyway, I'm just concerned about it, press going on and on and on. And I know there will be an end. It's just, if we have this information to the residents who live in Pendleton, when they ask us, that's like, why is this happening? Why is this taking so long? So that's why I ask. So we.
Yeah, I mean, this is like all projects, they take time, and all contractors have time to do the project in. And as long as they meet those timelines, they're allowed to do that. They could work steady hard in the beginning and finish early, or they could wait to start towards the end and finish it, right? So with this project, we still are working on things. So it's not like we're dead in the water right now. We're getting to a point where we eventually might become that, and that's why we're pressing hard to try to get this figured out and get a solution so that we can.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, to make this work, yeah. I mean, we never sit on it and try not to keep things moving, but sometimes things get out of our control. And this is one of those situations, because we were kind of under the impression that the water line was never removed, and now we're finding out that it was, or potentially it was, and so that's what we need to figure out. And there's some things, like I say, we're going to start doing tomorrow. We're trying to set up a meeting on Monday. Brandon, I haven't had a chance to tell you that, with the director of the water department, Ms. Vanessa Williams, Tiger, that's right, Tiger, I'm sorry, to talk with them once we see what we find out on tomorrow.
That's good. I'm glad they're being helpful and proactive.
Oh, they're being very helpful. Yeah, proactive, yeah.
Thanks. Thank you.
They're very good to work with, actually. They respond to us very quickly when we ask.
Thank you.
I've got two quick things. One, the farmers market on Tuesday from 9 to 1 was fantastic. There were just a few vendors. For any of you, I know you were there. you were shopping at many different booths. They did fantastic. I know when we first got there, I had an opportunity to talk to the vendors, and they were, you know, a little nervous because it was the first one and they didn't know what to expect. But by the end of the day, many of them sold out and they had good sales, so they feel positive about it. Just continue to support them and come out and buy something Tuesday mornings from 9 to 11. Brandon, you were there?
9 to
1.
1.
9 to 1, excuse me, 9 to 1. So please do that, and Chrissy did a great job organizing that with the vendors, and we should have more vendors selling more goods as time goes on. And then lastly, I wanted to just give a shout out to Scott because I know you just had the other half of your department essentially leave, and you're pulling all of this by yourself. And if there's anything that I can support you with, sir, just reach out and I'll be happy to help until you get someone else in to help you out. Okay?
Thank you, appreciate that.
All right.
Anyone, any other council comments? It's my understanding there's a new target for the post office opening of June 1st.
How many days till Christmas?
We don't believe it.
I still feel compelled to communicate to you. The Congressman Jack sent me an email and just wanted me to communicate to the public. Maybe we do it through our website too, if possible. That if people have need assistance with things like their disability or with their passport or veterans issues or any of those kinds of issues that are on the federal level, they are happy to assist. And so I'll just let him know that I would extend that message. So that's all I have, I believe. Any other council comments? All right. Is there a need for executive session?
Mr. Mayor, I do have one item involving real estate for executive session.
Is there a motion to move to executive session?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We will be back.
Microphones are hot again.
All right, is there a motion to reconvene?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned.